It was a great success.
Is Dead, a Twin Peaks podcast, part 15.
There's some fear in letting go.
Oof. And that has a double meaning for all of us because we are about this weekend will be the last episode of Twin Peaks. And what you missed, listeners, was a tearful toast between me and Pat and Melissa about just can't believe, we're almost at the end of this journey.
I mean, it has to be almost 40 hours.
Yeah.
Double that, considering we watched most of the episodes together.
Yeah.
And triple it. Because
a lot of hours.
48 episodes, right? So 30 plus 18.
A lot of hours when you look at our podcast journey, and then add on top of that, Twin Peaks, which is like, there has never been a thing where there are 2 seasons and then 25 years later there's another season. I guess X-Files. But
it wasn't as long of a gap.
Right. It wasn't as long of a gap.
It was it's a different vibe.
Right. It was less
there's there's a lot of series doing that right now.
Yeah.
But this is the best one.
This is the best. And I think
everything else is like Full House that's a gimmick,
Right.
Right. And this is more for the fans more than just being like, who doesn't have a job? Whatever DJ's real name is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and all 3 of us this week at separate times have said how we feel like the way we view television has changed from Twin Peaks. And I think the way I view television, the way I view social interactions, I feel like a more intuitive person. I swear.
I agree. I had some very deep Game of Thrones work chatter, and I was like, well, if you really look at it and into the past and the character development that they're doing, I was like, whoa, Twin Peaks.
Yes. And in 15, even more so, I'm amazed by the way they build and flesh out minor characters. I'm really impressed with, and if I ever became a director, would steal this idea of characters not necessarily knowing their full story when they come on set, because you can tell, Chantal and Hutch have so much backstory and relationship, and their scenes are so filled with stuff. They're great characters, and they're super interesting, and they're not acting like we're minor characters. Right. Every character acts as though, how we all do. We don't go about our life being
main character?
secondary characters in someone else's life.
We're all the main characters.
Right. And you really see that in his world.
Yeah, and they're the funnest, murderous couple you'll ever meet.
Yeah, they are. They really
is just always hungry.
I love that about her. They really won my heart. It's hard to make characters who have murdered mercilessly other characters that we care about or just we're humans and don't like to see so likable, but they are very likable characters. So it's a tough episode. It's dedicated to Margaret Latterman, who not only plays the log lady, but really is the log lady. So kind of they decided to name her character Margaret Latterman, which is her real name. And she's credited...
I don't think I put 2 and 2 together.
Yeah.
Oh.
In the original series, she's just the log lady, and they never say
They call her Margaret.
Do they?
Margaret, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, but
they do.
I think, and I could be totally wrong, but I think that they've chosen to name this character her real name, and when she's credited, it's like Margaret Latterman as the log lady or some sort of one of those credits that you typically have when it's Kelsey Grammer as Kelsey Grammer, you're playing yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel and in a lot of special features of Twin Peaks, David Lynch has Margaret Latterman doing narration or behind the scenes and little extras. So she is a really beloved, important character. We knew she passed away, and this is her, homage episode. So it's dedicated to her. And of course, there's some fear in letting go is a lovely direct reference to her.
In her soliloquy.
Yeah.
That she has with Hawk. I guess it's not a soliloquy because Hawk's another line.
But
halfway through it, there's no phone next to her.
Before we get into the play-by-play, I'm amazed in this episode and in 16, which we'll talk about in a bit later, I'm amazed at, the way that we can have these super sweet, lovely, idyllic scenes and then the most cynical, like, darkest of human nature in one TV show. And they really play them opposite each other in a beautiful way. And I think the beginning 2 sequences are beautiful evidence of that and are really handled well. So we start out with a lovely image of Nadine walking down the street with her golden shovel, walking to Big Ed's gas farm. She's just irradiated with contentment and joy, going to tell Ed that she's been a selfish bitch. She's manipulated him, and she wants him to be free. It's just a lovely...
Yes. It's really sweet.
Lovely sentiment.
She says true love is giving the other what makes them happy.
Oh,
So,
I thought that was the most beautiful idea.
She still loves Ed. She still loves him, but she's setting him free.
And he says, and she does seem like she's being totally genuine. There is one cynical piece of me that was like, could she be bipolar and this is the North Pole, and when she comes down to the South Pole, it won't be that way?
She could be.
And he insinuates that because he says, tomorrow you won't feel that way. Yeah. But I don't think that's true. I think she is shoveling herself out of the shit. And that's what she said. I walked here. I thought about it. She
might have a weird attraction to Dr. M. So also it's like, well,
it's two motives.
Yeah.
But it's a lovely idea that true love is giving the other what makes them happy. And it's a nicer way. I hate that cliche that's like, if you love something, let it free. Because, like, it's an excuse for too many douchebags to be like, bye, baby. But I do like this idea. If you love someone, it's giving them what makes them happy. And the idea that she is going to let Ed be with Norma.
In this case, she 100% knows that he wants to be with Norma. Yeah. It's not like, he's into her and then she's saying that. So it's a different situation, I think, when she says.
And it's a beautiful image of her. She looks so happy. It's gorgeous sunlight, And I like the golden shovel. I think it's a nice image. And I like the choice that it's not like she came strolling up arm in arm with Jacoby. She is having her private moment with Ed, and it's about them. And then the transition is just perfect. Otis Redding, I've Been Loving You Too Long, which is just one of the most beautiful songs that really, if there's a song that's Ed and Norma, it's this song about I've been loving you. Our affair keeps going on, but I keep feeling stronger. I mean, it's so beautifully placed. Again, I just think the sound design of this show is perfect. Like, every song is so good. And of course, Ed is just going to charge into the double R and get Norma, but lo and behold,
here comes Walter.
So he has to take a moment, step aside, and they play it perfectly because the music fades a little bit. He's sitting at the counter. And then we get a lovely scene with Norma and Walter.
At the counter and orders a cup of coffee and a cyanide tablet.
That's right. So he thinks it's over.
Right.
Yeah, he thinks it's over.
So we all go in with, "Aw, Norma."
I know. And what I love about this scene with Walter and Norma, the plot point is that she's going to give up the franchise.
7 diners.
Number theory. But the more important point and the lovely nostalgia, this whole sequence is like a big Twin Peaks payoff for the fans.
Right.
Is when he says, I thought you told me you had no family. She says, no, I have a wonderful family and I want to spend more time taking care of them. And of course by that she means Shelley and the double R and Ed.
Right.
So, and us, the Twin Peaks double R family. So it's a really sweet, lovely moment. And I love that then the music starts to come up and Ed is kind of meditating, like his eyes are closed and he suddenly becomes hopeful. And this sequence is just perfect. We see her hand on his shoulder. Oh, I don't want to take away all the best parts, but...
And then they make out passionately.
Well, he has to marry her.
Yeah.
Of course I will.
There you go.
Then they start making out passionately.
Okay.
And
then Shelley's just holding a coffee pot going like, oh,
yeah.
I don't really know what's going on, but I like it.
She
that
knows.
was the
She
spillover
knows.
for me. Was like Shelley in the background smiling, like, cause she knows how much this means to them, and
I just have the feels in my notes because
Me
the
too.
first time I watched it, like I wasn't in the right mindset for Twin Peaks, I think. So I was just like, okay, this happened, and then I rewatched it to take some notes, and I was like crying, and I was like, all right. Because Kelly's like, didn't you sob? And I was like, no.
Because I had this was like I like could not stop crying because though could not stop crying was the Ed by himself eating the soup. I think it was this whole arc. They really did lay out for us this devastating place that all of these people were in, including Jacoby and Nadine to some extent.
Everyone's not super successful.
And
right
everyone's
now.
alienated. In every scene we saw them alone. We saw like Nadine at her computer and Jacoby at his computer and like Ed and Norma still going through the motions but not connected. And I thought that like hand on his shoulder moment was the perfect like we're together. And it was just a nice way to say to the fans like, hang on, it's not all Doug because like there will be some cheerful moments. And it like pans up to a beautiful sky. And I'm sure all three of us were thinking, and what are you fucking going to lay on us after this? Because it's not going to be
electricity, moving. Look at it move. Look at it move through all of it.
You just know.
But we want it.
You just know, my sweet little Lynchies, that's not going to be a...
Have you noticed that Evil Coop is always like, the setting is always the highway scene of just, like, the headlights, and then it's like, okay, we get it. It's fucking Evil Coop.
It's a great transition move because it disorients you. You don't know where you are. It's inherently scary.
Where's he going?
It's a linchpin. It's in every movie.
Yeah. Lost Highway.
Mulholland Drive. Everything.
Yeah.
Stay tuned for after the podcast where we go through all these Lynch movies.
Yay!
I will force Kelly and Pat to watch all of these with me.
It will not be for... Have you met us?
And then we will talk about that. So stay tuned for Laura Palmer is Dead extras.
Yay! There will be
Lynch
so many
movies.
extras because I can't let it go. I mean, I've cried so many times this week.
And again, I was new to Twin Peaks and Lynch in general. Like, I watched 20 minutes of Mulholland Drive, and then I was like, nah.
Not for
But
me.
it was like,
Now it's
whenever it first came out. And I was like, everyone's talking about this. I'm going to try it. I was like, nope.
Now that you know Mulholland Drive is part of Twin Peaks universe.
Right. Now that I know all of this.
Yeah. It would be funny to hear from my ex-boyfriend Shane, who introduced me to this, to hear some of my comments from like the first times watching, because I was by no means an Insta fan. I didn't like right away get hooked. I did get hooked very quickly, but not like minute one. I'm sure I had some comments.
What were my comments? Do you remember?
No, you were lovely. You like loved it right away. I really thought too, playing this for Matt, I was like, this guy might break up with me. Like, it's one of those things where you're like, and I probably downplayed how into it. I was like, I mean, it's kind of weird and like, whatever. If you like it, cool. But
well, I think it's the third episode is what hooked me for good. Was the Red Room.
You are a weirdo.
First Red Room.
You are a weirdo. Yeah.
Because you have to get through, because I watched the first episode before we decided to do this, and I was like, I don't know. I feel like I really have to pay attention. I don't know if I'm really into this, and now...
You do.
Yeah, you're
totally... Where it was just like, we might have had Fire Walk with me playing in the background. I was like, I never thought I would watch this movie again. I watched it for the first time. I was like, I can't do this. I can't do this. But now I'm like, wait a minute. Let me get my notes out. I'm pretty sure we talked about this before.
So, by the way, gang, we did confirm that those scenes from Fire Walk With Me were actually in Fire Walk With Me. So, Jeffrey's coming in, talking about Judy, which we haven't talked about Judy yet.
Judy.
But we talked about it, I think, last episode.
Yeah, so just
the big one.
Anyway, yeah. So this whole sequence, of course, drastic change in tone. We've got Evil Coop going to meet Jeffries, and part of how he's going to do this is, and the sequence of this is really like artfully staged with all the pass off between the different Doug Puzz. There's like Doug Puzz at each part of the
right, and at one point when he asks for Jeffries, it's he stamps his foot, or no, he shifts a lever, and then there's electricity and flashes, and you see the guy with the nose mask.
And that is from Fire Walk With Me. So the Doug Puzz turning the lever is in Fire Walk With Me. By the way, I'm doing a hand motion.
I don't know what that means, but it was cool. That's what I guess.
It's a whole like balletic dance, and it's the first time we see that we definitively see that these entrances are attached, because they keep fading into like forest and convenience store, and like forest and this other place.
And this scene in general, which was why we spoke, it's just very Fire Walk With Me. And now that Showtime re-released it...
Because Melissa complained and Showtime listened to her.
Oh.
Right. And plus the finale. So
they listened to our podcast and...
Because it was like, where can I find this?
I would be surprised if David Lynch was like, I don't want to listen to the 3 most popular Twin Peaks podcasts. I want to listen to like the 4th or 5th most popular, and that Melissa wants Fire Walk With Me on Showtime. I'm going to put it back on.
Well, because
thank you, David Lynch.
And this scene is very Fire Walk With Me, because even after the weird electricity scene, they go through some trees, and then he's in the room with the wallpaper, which was the Laura painting room.
Yes.
Which you forget about, but you remember it, because I was like, I even noted, I was like, Laura's room. Something with Laura's room is this wallpaper.
So for those of you who didn't watch Fire Walk With Me in the past month, what Melissa's talking about...
Pause, go watch it, come back.
Or at least listen to our podcast episode of it. But what Melissa's referring to is a painting that Mrs. Tremont and her grandson, the magician, a.k.a. David Lynch's son, Creepy Cream Corn Boy, give to Laura, this painting that is of a empty room with rose wallpaper that's peeling. And this room really acts as a transition into the convenience store, we discover.
Right.
Through Fire Walk With Me, and it's reasserted in this episode, which is neat. They're really bringing things from Fire Walk With Me completely full circle. Like,
it's true.
Almost as a way of saying to assholes who were like, Fire Walk With Me was totally random, what does it have to do with anything? Being like, we're literally tying it all together, so shut your mouth.
I think they were upset. I think people were upset by the violence and
the
father-daughter.
They wanted a continuation of Twin Peaks, but this is the continuation of Twin Peaks, and this is so much more interesting.
Right.
And I do think one of the most interesting things about this series, besides David Lynch's totally innovative directing, is like that these actors, because they were somewhat B actors, and I don't think all of them deserved that, but let's be honest, that's what they are. They aged naturally. They seem more real. They act and behave like more what flawed natural humans act and behave like. And to see people on TV like that is nice. And it really makes the story different and special. And I think that is something that matters with this, as well. Anyway.
No, aging is...
Preached.
The passage of time and aging is a big theme, I think.
And so having this is just really interesting. But so we get Evil Kook goes up the stairs to the convenience. Well, he's in the convenience store, and then he like flashes into this kind of courtyard.
He kind of like walks up the side stairs of the convenience
there's
store.
A whole bunch of different.
It's like a whole series of things.
Walks through a hall, walks through this, then the other.
Right. Then there's flashes of trees. There's flashes of the
keeps flashing back to Sycamore Grove, seemingly.
Then he's like in a courtyard of apartment.
I think it's the motel from Fire Walk With Me.
Very possible. I didn't think. It's certainly possible because that's the only setting we haven't seen.
Leland came in to be like, I'm going to have sex with my daughter. Yeah. Oh no, it's my daughter. I'm not going to have sex with my daughter.
Magician Boy put on the mask and danced around in that little area, and we've seen flashes of that. So, like, very good theory.
Yeah.
We do get a character here in the courtyard that is a woman in bedraggled kind of house coat. that says, I'll unlock the door for you to Cooper. And I have a theory that that's Judy. I just want to throw that out. But I could be totally wrong. We don't know.
Could be Judy.
She does speak in backwards speak, right? Or no, she does.
She does.
Okay, yeah. So here we get the Jeffries and Coop scene, which amazing that I totally believed that this steaming tea kettle was David Bowie, even though it wasn't. Voiced by an actor who did a great job of sounding just like David Bowie.
Yeah,
But
I have his name, Nathan Fizzle.
Good job, Nathan Fizzle. You had a very specific task to accomplish, and you accomplished it beautifully.
But can I just ask a general question on what... So, Bad Coop is a doppelganger, so he's evil Coop. Does he have all of Good Coop's memories then?
I have always thought that, yes, he does.
Appears to be
because
I think
it's been alluded to that he does.
Yeah.
But I just thought that was like...
Let's explore that more in just a minute in the scene called Gotcha! Kelly, gotcha!
I mean, that's coming in a little bit later. First, we gotta finish this tea kettle scene.
I know, that's what I'm saying. I want to get into that.
I know you're super excited for the gotcha scenes, which will be coming up in various new episodes.
What could
for
that
15, maybe for 16.
Oh,
Stay tuned.
I just keep getting this.
Sometimes
Okay.
Melissa gets really upset when she's wrong.
You gotta admit, though, I didn't gloat. I waited until you texted me. Anyway.
My texts were just, God damn it, Kelly. And you're like, ah!
Gotcha. I need a picture of you for my gotcha wall. Okay. Anyway, this is not a Parks and Recs podcast. So the Jeffries and Coop scene, giant tea kettle. We do get some radiator action, which is always Eraserhead. I found it interesting. Well, and just radiators in general, because the woman from the radiator. But I found it interesting that this the way this exchange went was, did you send Ray to kill me? And he says,
what?
Right. And it's like, did you call me 5 days ago? I don't have your number.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was interesting, because it's all about numbers, of course. Then we get that scene from Fire Walk With Me, not a deleted scene, as it turns out, actually happened. It happened, listeners, in case you want to go and look it up, I took down the number, at 28 minutes and 16 seconds. This scene happens in Fire Walk With Me.
Happens early on,
So, I won't tell you my job, but, well, it's corporate trainer, rare work, but part of it does involve listening to things and writing down the time markers of those things. So I've gotten good at that.
That's
Weird
good,
little skill. 28 minutes and 16 seconds, we hear this whole scene about Judy. We're not going to talk about Judy at all. And so then, and we did need that flashback because
and then,
I didn't know that happened.
And then, so is it Jeffries the one who's calling Coop and these other people trying to get evil Coop killed? Like, now it seems like it.
Well, I don't know, because
Jeffries imposter or...
Jeffries seems to be a little bit more unstuck in time than, because he then says, he points to Coop in 1989 and says, who is that? Do you know who that is? So he's thinking that Coop is evil Coop. I think that Jeffries has just been in the Black Lodge for so long, because he's not speaking backwards speak, but he's a giant tea kettle. So his form has changed, but his speech has also changed for the better. I think he's just so into this world that now he would have no way of really getting out. Think about the transition that Coop has to go through. No spoilers, but
Bowie. Jeffries.
There's no hope for Jeffries has just been there too long. That's how I take it, at least. Because he's kind of unstuck in time. He doesn't know which Coop knows what. Because even here he says, so you are Coop, to this Cooper, right? Because something about this Cooper makes him say, so you are Cooper.
Because he remembered, because the evil Cooper remembered in 1987, was it?
Yeah.
When he talks about
Right.
Right.
Yeah, I guess I always assumed that you get the memories. If you're a doppelganger, you get all the memories.
So maybe he he found out that memory, but he fooled Jeffries.
Yeah.
Maybe. Is that what we're...
Yeah.
I don't know. Who knows?
Because
Who
that's
knows
what we
Jeffries
don't know is...
Right.
Because if someone's pretending to be Jeffries, or it's a different... Or it's doppelganger Jeffries, or something's going on
I mean,
where...
I think that Jeffries is the giant tea kettle. That's
Yeah.
like the real
That's
Jeffries.
him, yeah.
The Jeffries that
Is
displaced
calling
out
him.
into like calling him.
Because he says, I don't have your number, but then I guess there is a...
So then did he call other Cooper? Like, there's a lot of questions here. I do
Shrug
think...
emoji. Shrug
emoji. I think that Evil Coop has the memories of Coop.
It seems like that,
And
yeah.
which is why I always thought it would make more sense to me. Like, I never understood... Well, I guess I never understood Evil Coop's motives in general, and I still don't totally. I get that he doesn't want to go back to the Black Lodge. I see that.
Yeah.
But, you know, now that he doesn't have Bob, it doesn't seem to be just pure chaos for no reason. So, like, what does he really want?
And it could just be that maybe he just wants to live?
Yeah, could be.
I don't know.
And to
Because
do that, he has to kind of erase a lot of people because there's another...
Yeah. He wants some sort of power to...
Because wouldn't you
in
think...
the underworld
Right.
type area.
I guess what I've always assumed, if I were in that situation where I was the doppelganger Coop, I would like pop up with my memories and good looks and talent and be a great FBI agent and then do schemy things on the side or whatever I wanted,
Right.
but like use that power to, you know, I wouldn't like go and be a long-haired,
No.
leather-clad arm wrestler, but
No.
you
but
know,
how would people know that you're bad?
that's right, they wouldn't know. They wouldn't know.
They wouldn't know.
So, other thing of significance, we get numbers in the smoke that Jeffries tells Cooper to write down, which potentially are coordinates.
Yeah. That's what
Some of which are 4851, and then I lost it. And I really just wanted to write it a
as
few
far
times.
as it
Yeah.
went out. And then they've really pushed this Judy. So, like,
Yeah,
that's
so
what we're
Judy,
supposed to
who's
be.
Judy is a big thing. We know that Cooper's already met Judy, which I'm like, okay, so then she could be that woman in the courtyard, but that seems pretty cheap to like re-bring up a character and
Right
then,
away,
like that
yeah.
seems cheap.
From what they've been like, the past two episodes, because we heard about our last episode too. I feel like they're making her be a bigger thing
Right.
than she is. Even like, yeah. So I think it's going to be a more significant thing in the
You know who
long
else we've
run.
never talked about? In the very first scene, I'll keep going back to it, is the giant says, remember 4:30, Richard and Linda. We obviously have a very significant Richard in the story, but who the fuck is Linda?
We still don't know.
No. So speaking of a very significant Richard in the story,
Oh,
it has to happen. And I'm going to love every minute. So Cooper comes outside the convenience store and
a little
who's
sad face here. Just a frowning
who's
face.
waiting for him but Richard P. Horne. We don't know Richard's full name at all, but Richard has a gun that he's holding out on Cooper, and we get a reason for it that I think is good setup, very logical. He says, "You're FBI. I've seen your picture."
Mhm.
Oh, the same picture that everyone has of you in front of the red curtain.
Yes. It's that one screenshot from one of the movies.
Tammy has it.
Yeah.
The Black Lodge picture, you know. We Google image you. It was image number 3.
We didn't take the
picture.
first one, didn't really show the full face, but this one.
Evil Coop, never one to be rattled, says, you know, how do you have that picture? Richard says, my mom had it. Who's your mom? Audrey Horne.
God.
The matter-of-factness of this exchange, just,
It's
as Pat, I want to paint the
sad
picture.
face, sad face, sad face.
So listeners, for whatever reason, Melissa, just contrary to logic and popular belief, decided she did not want to believe that.
Optimist, God damn
You
it.
were like that one person who was like, no, Jon Snow is not a target.
Just didn't want to believe it's obvious. And when Pat and I watched this, I was like, well, doesn't get more clear than that. Like, I was like, who's your mom? Audrey Horne. Boop, boop. No room for interpretation. Oh no. But what I thought was even better, and it's all good, but gotcha. Even better, though, I thought the after moment of this was perfect. So Coop, like, does this little thing where he tilts his head and kind of looks at Richard for one moment. In my mind, his subtext is like, eyebrows. Like, he, like, confirms, like, yep, you've got those eyebrows. That's correct. And then he punches him right in the face and just, like, knocks him out.
He spits to distract Richard.
Oh, yeah, he spits.
Which is a stupid thing to be distracted by. Like, I'll follow your spit to the ground so you can easily punch me and take my gun away.
Yep. But what I think is, like, important about this is that we have just seen that evil Cooper can kill someone by punching them. And he has chosen not to do so.
Oh, look at you.
With this little yelpling.
I know, I just wrote, now Richard goes with bad Coop.
Yep.
And then Richard texts Las Vegas, which this is where it's like, oh.
To Diane.
Or is it to Diane, or is it to Chantel?
Could be. Yeah, that's true.
Because Chantel...
They still have a job out to do.
Right.
So.
Because that was the big thing. Like, is it to Diane? Is that who she's texting?
This whole sequence to me, when Coop goes, don't ever threaten me again. Get in the truck. We'll talk on the way. It's like, discipline daddy. It's like, Richard Horne, you've had
I hate that you're so right. I hate it so much.
He's like,
I hate it.
I like your moxie, kid, but you know what? We're going to be doing things differently. And Richard just is like, okay, Paul, and just gets right in the car. Like, two besties.
Well, we don't know that he's his dad yet.
We don't know that yet. We don't know that yet. But if lessons would tell us who we should bet against and who we shouldn't.
Fine, Kelly. It's one win.
I do think to act like it would. I don't know. It would be pretty freaking obvious to go with, like, Audrey is his mom and Evil Coop's his dad, but that does seem like the most obvious way. Anyway.
Audrey is the only one who could have been his mom, because Johnny...
Right. I do think it was almost a funny nod to, like, because there had been so much drama about Richard Horne, like, so many articles and just people guessing, and then it just comes down to, who's your mom? Audrey Horne. Just like 2 lines. Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah.
So
they ride off in the distance, and then the convenience store smokes for 4 to 7 seconds too long, and then just
and then it's sycamore trees. You know, I had a teacher in senior year who was extremely hot and very young in that way where it was like everyone sort of wanted to sleep with him, but he was like slightly too old, but like not quite too old. Anyway, he had this technique where he would just go transition when he wanted to transition with like a hand signal. And I've taken to like writing that in my notes when there's a Lynchian transition. And I wrote that after the Discipline Daddy scene. That was clearly like transition, convenience store, sycamore trees. Like, we get what you're doing. Yeah.
I like to say plot twist and then continue on.
So
to the Twin Peaks trees now.
And like, I don't know if this speaks to characters that I care about and characters that I don't, but I continuously forget that Steven and Gersten have this big, very well done scene. I mean, for both of them, like, very, very well done scene in the forest. That's incredibly intense. Gives us a lot.
But then, can I just mention that something that really irked me was, what's her name? Gersten Hayward. The Hayward girl has a perfect manicure. Like, she has perfectly purple nails. And I was like, it's
that's like a thing in Twin Peaks. Every woman in Twin Peaks has a perfect manicure.
She's pretty stunning all around.
Right. But when you're tweaked out, you have my manicure, which is chipped.
I know.
It's like, oh, I need to do something about this. But
you know what's?
It's not a.
That's the whole thing.
She's not sitting there while some
the
lady
signature move in Twin Peaks, the original series, was the like lacquered on fake red, like fire engine red nails.
Right.
Like, that's the look. Ooh, and by the way, when we do our costumes for Halloween, gotta do that.
Oh.
That's like a gotta do. Gotta do.
We'll have a spa day.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. In Twin Peaks, they do, like, there's no excuse to not have the lacquered nails. Visually, what struck me with this scene, of course, it's the beautiful Snoqualmie forest that Pat and I have been to. And both, you know, we were in an altered state part of the time that we were there. It can, not all the time, an altered state of joy when we were together.
Just a little marijuana.
It can get... Papa Klein, that's only Pat who does that. Your precious baby angel, Kelly, is just still...
And it's medical. It's medical.
He knows.
He knows. Anyway, so... It is the type of forest where the beauty is enhanced by smoking, but it's also like a fearful, scary place. Like, and...
Well, they're on something a lot stronger.
They are.
Yeah. They're tweaking out, like, hardcore.
We keep getting clues about this drug use in the town. We get it at the end of this episode. We get it in subsequent episodes.
I feel like it's almost a C-plot at this point.
It is, but it has to come to the surface. Like, it has to come to
We only
importance.
have 3 more hours left of this show.
Well, it's a C-plot, but Richard is dealing it with Red, who, you know, like...
right. We don't know how... And
Exactly.
Red's dating Shelley.
Right. So there's potential to really bring this to the front, but right now it is sort of a background thing. And the image of this green forest that these trees are, you know, the Douglas pines are like so high.
Covered in moss.
And then these 2 red specks kind of in the... Like in the
Do you want to go on one of your ginger
I will not, because actually I think their gingerness really serves this scene. They're both wearing red shirts and being aggressively ginger.
Especially Steve.
See, that was such disdain.
Being aggressively ginger in the best way possible. So it's like a little splash of red, and it just brings to the point that's like, in the grand scheme of things, they're not that significant, but this is a huge moment in these characters' lives. So Steven's tweaking out and is going to commit suicide, potentially. But there's an exchange that's interesting that speaks to a potential future plot of, you know, Gersten saying why you're going to kill yourself. There's no why, I did do it. And then Gersten says, no, she did it.
Which we assume is Becky, probably.
So what did
they
him
do?
Or her...
What does it mean? And then, you know, again, Gersten says, like, you're fucking stoned. So we're getting more of, like, the drugs are bad, people are heightened, acting heightened and crazy.
What did they give you?
Right.
It's something she says, so maybe he's trying to deal with Red. Who knows?
I just think this whole scene is really...
And they're red people, so...
They're both very red. And everything else is green. And we get the guy walking the dog who looks like a Dugpa, but then it's just a dude walking a dog, which I think is very clever.
And then at one point, the audience is torn to shit. Steven's gonna kill this dude.
Right.
Dog, which is what I thought at least.
The man was smart to leave that situation very quickly.
I also thought all the dialogue around, you know, like Steven thinking about death, and then at first he's very sure that he wants to do it, and then he's like, but what if nothing happens? And then he's remembering fucking her. And I think that that's important, because we always talk about in Twin Peaks, like, Bob is brought on by the pleasures and the fear, and like that, like, these 2 are in a fear-pleasure moment. Like, they could fuck, or they could kill each other right in this moment. Right. So it's a perfect, like, Bob
Are we
entrance.
upset if he did kill himself too?
No. I don't know. But I do...
Did he kill himself? Did he kill himself?
I think he did. Well, I do.
Because I'm more invested in what that will do for Becky and for Shelley and Bobby and, like, the story. I think it's a more dramatic choice if he did.
But one of the lines I really liked was, where would I go when I'm gone? Will I be completely turquoise? I don't know why, but I really enjoyed that.
Well, and does make you think, like...
This is a duty. This is the end. This is a duty, is what he says.
Wow, yeah.
I mean, and...
It's weirdly deep for...
I like the way Alicia Witt This is an actress who has been cast a lot in roles that make her unlikable. And she does a good job playing unlikable, but in playing the other woman, she consistently plays like the other woman. And watching her
talking about 2 weeks' notice.
Avi. I hated her in that, but hated her because she was so perfect.
Right.
She's such a good actress. Yeah, and in this, it was a time where I really appreciated her because she had a lot going on. I loved how there's a moment where the guy walking the dog comes by and she sort of scurries away, and you wonder for a second, was she running away from him out of fear, or was she just shocked and running away from the dude? Right. And then there's this, like, she hears the click of the gun and doesn't go towards him. No. Like, she's got a lot going on in her inner monologue and, like, her inner story. And I thought she did a great job of, like, taking this, could have been a nothing character and making it, like, so fleshed out and cool.
And she has a very large key around her neck.
It was a knee-jerk reaction.
Yeah.
And then she was afraid to even look to see if Steven had done it.
And that tree being so wide, too, helps with the drama because it's like, yes, you love your person, but there's that self-preservation instinct that, like, here's a man with a gun, and, like, if I get close to him, is he going to shoot me? And he's talking about, like, when you come up and, like, her dying. So I thought she just, like, really nailed it, and it made me question, you know, her relationship versus Becky's, where, like, she's the girl, like, there in the woods with him. Mm-hmm. So it just made me see her in a different light, which I really appreciated. And then, of course, Carl has to get involved from Fat Trout.
Of course.
That is Fat Trout Farms.
Yep, because the dog walker comes in and tells Carl.
Yes.
So
he goes, they live in that trailer.
Right.
Yeah. And that's it.
So fairly certain this is going to come back to poor Shelley, which just, like, it's like, I just bypassed Becky. Like, I'm like, nah, fuck Becky. Then we get to the Bang Bang Bar and playing ZZ Top, Sharp Dressed Man. A scene of Renee and the gang and James. And Freddie.
And good old James. Because you're
James.
Yeah.
Fucking stuff.
I'm going to get us some of the champagne here while we talk about James.
Well, because James, still the same James, where he comes on screen, especially this scene, was one of those, fuck you, James. What are you doing?
Well,
why are you so stupid?
But I don't,
which
I think it's
feel is from the beginning.
Well, I don't know. I think they've set up something here where, like, it's not just James's usual naivete. Yeah. It's that he was in a motorcycle accident and he's like,
he's a little bit off.
Actual disabilities. Like,
my note is good to know you're still stupid.
I mean, he wasn't smart before.
Right. But here he's just,
because he
he's very
comes up to her and says, like,
hi, Renee.
It's good to see you, Renee. Well, I like her. Like, he's just being genuine, but he doesn't know the social mores and the way that you have to behave.
And he is with it the previous episode when they talk about how the kid gets.
No, not really.
Yes, he is.
I feel like he's not is. That's why I think
something's
he's not. There's something off. I'm not saying this,
but I feel like, but he did go down to that weird cellar. Yeah. In between and look at that door. So maybe something in the door made him stupid.
Even after then his English friend punches out Chuck and the other guy.
Right.
James is like, these guys are really hurt. You gotta help them.
Right.
So he is not.
His eyes do not look right. That's what he said. Really
right. Well, it could be like there's a lot of things.
I mean, he's not completely like he doesn't have like a mental impairment now.
No, I'm not saying impairment. I'm saying something akin to like
just thought
something.
They
PTSD.
Right, sure.
Maybe
cancer because of how he looks and how skinny and scary he looks. That's why I thought they were going this accident route. Like that's why he looks so crazy. I didn't know if he was always so James,
right?
And so kind of dumb.
Well, let's face it. I mean,
but he's so dumb.
track to Laura Gloat. No, I know.
At least now he's not like melodramatic all the time. No,
What I'm more curious about in this scene, and subsequent scenes, is that Renee's reaction to James when he's singing on stage and she's like crying for the totality of her love for him, versus here where she almost seems irritated that he's there, makes me wonder.
Her husband's right there too.
Well, yeah, but it also makes me wonder, was the Renee we saw when she was like crying with love for James's perception of Renee and not like the reality? Mm-hmm. Like, I have to question if Renee has been kind of a character who's just been like a dream character. Like, she's just like
everyone's
James
just in like the Red Room or something.
It could be.
And
it
the
could
Bang
very
Bang is
well
just how
be.
we all connected.
Oh, you could be right.
I know.
So spoilers.
I mean, it could totally be.
Right.
You really think about it.
Renee's behavior is weird to me.
Why would James be singing that one fucking song from 20 years ago?
I know, and then why would the Bang Bang Bar be like this hip place in the middle of this small
Where
town?
everyone dances like a hipster no matter what type of music's playing.
No.
It's true, and 9 Inch Nails and Eddie Vedder.
And like
They
all
just
these
sway.
famous...
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh, theory alert.
Okay, gang, we might be podcasting about 16 two nights. So maybe you'll be hearing 2 Emmys. Interesting. We can't get ahead of ourselves.
Right.
So, Bang Bang Bar, that's it for there. And then we go to Vegas and get all the Douglas Joneses in custody. Not really that important. It's a bunch of kids. That's when,
Chantel takes care of, disposes of Roger and Duncan.
But before
we get
the FBI.
Yeah.
They're like, all the kids. It's like, you're taking the husband. Yeah.
Kids!
If you were taking in the husband and wife, why would you take all the children? I feel like that's not something people do. But I know.
Well, if no one's there to watch them.
I will have to say, if I have to give every scene, even the scenes that have in the past felt like transition to me, like the Meacham brothers, love them. They became like a real plot.
Right.
Like, really love the Meachams. But this one Vegas, like Headley and Wilson, like those two, like I can't care about them.
You know, my philosophy is that my theory is because they're not connected to any of our characters that we're invested in.
That's true.
We can deal with Buckhorn because they have Gordon
Really
Cole and Albert, but this is just like pure. I don't understand. I don't like these two.
Right.
Like, I don't know why he's
here.
like Wilson. And I was like, am I supposed to get something that I'm not?
I mean, that's Dennis the Menace. Like, but
that's true.
They're definitely comic
But
relief.
that's
Right.
Yeah,
They're trying to be comic relief.
They're
Which
good.
why-
It's
why
just not
not just-
necessary. It's not. We've got
Why
enough.
not just use the Fusco brothers?
Yeah, we
Right.
love the Fuscos. For some reason, the Fuscos work better for me than those two. But yeah, what I do like about Chantel killing Roger and Duncan, pour one out for Roger and Duncan, very good Lynchian villains, is that she's dressed to the nines with her Labudins, and she's like got one to go on her cell phone with Hutch. Just classic Chantel. Like, she just could not give a shit. Like, her world is so different, and I love it.
And then later when we see them afterwards, like, Chantel just needs a cheeseburger.
Oh my god, and I love the line where she's like, my fun's over when I actually kill someone. And, like, they're talking about her torturing.
Yeah, we haven't gotten to do that too long.
He's like, I know, it just hasn't worked out.
It hasn't worked out.
My favorite line was, did you get me dessert? And he goes, you know I did.
I love you, Hutch.
I was like, that's love.
I know. That little
We're
scene
just
made me, just love them. I was like, Chantel and
Of
Hutch
course she did, because he loves you.
They're adorable. No, it was so good the way he was like, I know, it just hasn't worked out. Like, I wish I could get you more torture opportunities. Like, I haven't had a lot of training lately, and my boss will say that. Like, she'll be like, I want to get you back in the classroom. And I felt like that was like Chantel and Hutch. Like, just hasn't worked out. So good. They're so cute for murderers.
It's horrible.
The only thing we skipped was just Twin Peaks Prison. James and Freddie now are locked up in cells 7 and 8, respectively, and so they're across from NATO and potentially near Billy, maybe. And there's lots of chattering.
Drunk guys, how he's on the credits.
Right.
And then we get
Chad.
Dougie Coop and Janie E. I love this that Janie is like, oh, Dougie, it's like all our dreams have come true. Yeah, because your horrible husband's been replaced with Kyle MacLachlan. And he says true in a real Cooper way, or getting closer to Cooper. Eating cake presses TV power. Oh, because here we go, Sunset Boulevard.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because he's eating cake, and then he moves the... I'm glad that you had to really read through your notes. Like, I don't know what this means.
This is TV
They give
power.
him... Janie E. gives him cake because he loves his desserts. He moves his salt and pepper shaker, and then he's just playing with the remote, and turns the TV.
Yeah. And it's Sunset Boulevard, which... all of us with a musical theater degree will know that one of the characters in Sunset Boulevard is Gordon Cole, and the character goes, "Get me Gordon Cole!" And Dougie Coop stares at the screen, freaking out, and looks at the electric socket. As this is happening, I said, he looks more and more like Dale. Like, every minute he's becoming more and more lucid. He hears the static and takes the fork and purposely shoves it into the electric socket to shock himself. Janie screams and we black out. So hopefully,
I haven't really electrocuted myself, like, ever. Maybe once, maybe twice. But, like, it never caused a power surge, but I never did it purposely. Do you think that it does cause such a power surge that, like, it flashes?
Dale Cooper, it does.
I don't know.
Just want to talk about Sunset Boulevard for a second and its significance. So, Sunset Boulevard, besides having the character Gordon Cole, which obviously was on purpose, is a movie about an aging film star from the silent era who attempts to make a comeback in the talkie era. And like it's all about how she's like aging and she doesn't fit in this world. And like in the silent era, it was like slower and more deliberate and classical. So I could see how Lynch would like love Sunset Boulevard. It makes a lot of sense. Did my little recorder stop there? Sure did. Oh well, we'll have to hope the computer works. All right, are we ready for Log Lady?
R.I.P.
R.I.P. So we get the final Log Lady call, and I can't even imagine, like, for both these actors, what this must have been like to do this scene. And, you know, kudos.
Yeah, they must have loved each other.
Loved each other and been very brave. It's a brave thing to talk about death when you know you yourself are experiencing death. I think that that's just incredibly brave.
Yeah,
and
she didn't really have to be acting.
No.
Really.
Right.
I mean,
I didn't take any of this as acting. In fact, it felt, you know, the closest I can relate it to, I always say, despite like having like some theater background minimally, and people think, oh, if you've done one play, you must just constantly want attention and want people to be looking at you. But like, when we got married, I remember feeling like it was the most invasive thing. It felt very uncomfortable to have like people around listening to you talk about your feelings with each other and this commitment you were making to each other and how like odd that was. And it was like very vulnerable and like the idea of communicating what it would feel like to die when you know you're dying in front of all these people, it takes a lot of bravery, and Margaret Latterman did an amazing job. And she calls Hawk to tell him that she's dying.
That it's just a change, not an end.
Yeah, death is, as you know, death is a change, not an end, which I thought was really...
She says, watch out for that one, the one I told you about, and the one under the moon on Blue Pine Mountain.
Yes.
Right? So there's some more riddles that she gives us.
Yeah. She leaves us with, and we know Blue Pine Mountain is Major Briggs's station that we're going to be taken to at some point.
To remember our talks face to face.
Yeah.
Hawk, it's time, some fear and letting go. And then my log is turning gold. The wind is moaning. Good night, Hawk. So I feel like my log is turning gold it's going up in flames.
Yeah.
Right,
I thought it was so
right.
like when we used to talk face to face was a commentary on the world we're in today. Where like we don't talk face to face anymore because we're all on the internet. And I love the way he said good night, Margaret, the same way he always does, hangs up the phone and says goodbye, Margaret.
Mm-hmm.
And then this next scene in the conference room was just the loveliest send-off they could possibly have done. It was Andy, Lucy Truman, Bobby, and Hawk. And they come in and just Hawk says Margaret Lannerman passed away. And Lucy says the log lady. And the way they shoot it, Lucy's the only one in the light because of her height. Like everyone else is taller than her. Mm-hmm. And so Lucy's like framed in the light crying in a very lovely way. She's a great actress. And Sheriff Truman takes off his hat. It's just a beautiful, beautiful send-off. Yeah. And you can tell from these two sequences that Margaret Lannerman means something to the Twin Peaks community and that they wanted her, her send-off to be meaningful. Right. Yes. And I thought they did a great job, and I think they nailed this.
We thought she was only going to be in, like, the first maybe couple episodes. Right. I mean, every time you saw her, you thought maybe that's her last episode.
I know, and this was just beautiful.
Yeah.
It was really, really beautiful. And I'm glad that, like, her part in this was her perfect level of involvement, and I like that they didn't hide that she was sick or try to make her not seem vulnerable.
Right.
I loved the cabin light turning off of her place at the end of that scene. I thought that was just perfect. And the trust that, like, Hawk just knows she's dead. It's beautiful. And it was nice bookends, because the beginning of the episode is Ed and Norma, and then you get Log Lady, and it's like, for Twin Peaks fans, these are these are characters that are beloved, that deserve a happy, good send-off, and they get that. So that's, like, a lovely thing.
But then we get a little bit of Audrey and Charlie.
Like sweet Audrey. I just, like, I can't.
And Charlie just being like, I'm so sleepy. Which I totally get. No one wants to go out when they don't want to go out.
I mean, and you watch this
scene. So sleepy.
And you think about the definition of insanity is doing the same thing and expecting different results. And you really see that with Audrey and Charlie. They are both, we have seen the same scene now multiple times. But but you have to think about... Well, you have to think about David Lynch and say to yourself, would he invest this time to drive us nowhere? He wouldn't do that.
We have to have patience, though. He's just not going to show it to us right away.
Interestingly, in this scene, I think the major development is that Charlie does have his coat on, and he references on the threshold multiple times. So it's not like
stand here on the threshold.
Right. That's not what I call the door. Are you just going to stand here at the door?
It wasn't what past you said.
Right.
It's just
very on the threshold.
It's just a very poetic guy.
And then she has this moment, and what I've been seeing in Audrey is she'll have these moments where she's being sassy Audrey, but then, like, remember when we first saw her, you were like, oh, she's the new Catherine Martell. But what changed that for you, I would imagine, is seeing that, like, her reactions are clearly to buffer, like, her intense fear and confusion.
Right.
Because she's, like...
Definitely some, like, psychosomatic stuff going on where she's trying to, because then she just screams that I like Billy better. Billy doesn't speak to me like this. I like Billy.
Right.
Which is almost childish, and they're still having their coat fight. And then my favorite line is, I never saw you before. Who are you, Charlie?
Yes.
And then it's like, well, shit, like, there's stuff going on here.
Yeah, and she had that with herself, like, who am I? So this is where we really do keep thinking, and it keeps building to this, like, could she not really be in Twin Peaks in walking distance of the Roadhouse? Because we know she was in a coma. The way that information was given to us was she was in a coma, so that makes you think she either died or came out of it.
Yeah.
Not she is in a coma. But
we know she had to have birth.
She had to give birth to Richard. Yeah, but we also know that Richard, current day, doesn't have much involvement with her.
Right.
It's certainly possible that she is in some sort of state that's not, totally.
Yep. I mean.
Then it ends with Audrey attacking Charlie. Oh,
my phone's doing something I've never seen it do before, and I'm not okay with it.
It does look really...
It's doing a game.
Yeah, so Audrey attacks Charlie. She says, I hate you. She's strangling him. And I feel like, to her, this is the one person she can exert control over. She's so confused. She's so powerless that here's someone that she can actually make feel something. And I think really the only reason she lashes out at Charlie so severely is that he's there.
And if she's in the Black Lodge, or if what you said before, the Bang Bang Bar is the Black Lodge or some otherworldly plane, they mention Billy in the Bang Bang Bar, and she mentions Billy. No one else outside of the Bang Bang Bar or...
That's true.
So,
because
Billy.
There's these.
The Bang Bang Bar.
Bang Bang Bar is another plane,
and it's like we've mentioned the Nut House, but we don't know where the Nut House
also,
is.
they have the Bang Bang Bar had 9 Inch Nails.
Right. No, I never thought that about the Bang Bang Bar, but actually that transitions well to our next scene.
Although James goes to the bar though. So.
Well,
yeah, that's true.
And Shelley goes there. I mean, but there could be the real Bang Bang Bar and this other Bang Bang. But
right. That's true. That's true.
So next scene, I want to say Charlene Yee, you're awesome. We love you.
And we assumed it was you because of your overall characteristics.
And you just play yourself in a great way.
Right.
But also
we're
this
like,
was
is
a
that
great
the girl?
role
And then it's like, of course it is.
Great role for you, Charlene Yee, and you nailed it. Way to commit. And as I knew, I felt like Michael Cera was in Twin Peaks because he was a fan. Charlene Yee, I know you're in Twin Peaks because you're a fan. Also because you're brilliant and it was a perfect role for you, but she's a fan.
Great
she was like, how can I get in Twin Peaks? So Charlene Yee, aka Ruby, is waiting in a booth, being her nerdy, adorable self, big glasses and a beard, just listening to the music. The band is the Veils. The song is Axolotl from Total Depravity. The album is fantastic. Love this band. It sounds very animalistic, and it's just a great
Intense,
song.
Yeah.
2 big biker guys come up and they remove Charlene Yee from the booth, and she just is sitting cross-legged on the floor listening, totally unperturbed by anything going on.
Side note, would you ever sit in the Bang Bang Bar's floor, though?
I mean, now I would.
Oh, the
Now
shells?
Yeah, it seems like one of those floors that even walking across will just have that layer of stick on them. Even when they clean it, and it's still that weird cleaning stick. You're
yeah.
So I don't think I would touch the floor, but that's something that I noted because it really kind of bothered me.
Agreed. But love the way they do this scene. The band and the music is very rhythmic, a little bit metal, but not really. Just listen to it. Listen to the Veils. It's AXOLOTL from the album Total Depravity. Great song. It's on our playlist at the Bang Bang Bar, at symbol the Bang Bang Bar. And Ruby slowly starts to crawl to the middle of the floor as this song is going on and begins to scream in a very Laura Palmer screaming way.
Yeah.
And the lights are kind of flickering. It makes me think of the Pink Room song from Fire Walk With Me that we just watched.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
It's that same type of feel.
Yeah,
it's that same sort of rhythmic swell, girls screaming, kind of music going. Yeah. So, loved it. I thought it was a great end. And then the very end credits is Philip Jeffries' apartment complex. So,
yeah.
that's where we're left off. 16 will have some major answers for us that we will be discussing very soon. But meanwhile...